Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to a story about my uncle. Now, it's been quite a while since we last recorded for me. I have just been distracting myself, busy, and in general, just like not super enthusiastic about coming back to this game. Like, I kind of remember where we are. We had just split up with the frog girl and left her, and I guess that was part of the story of the of finding your place in the world. And now we're in this ice caves. I'll see how well I can remember.
Into the caves again, and now it was just me, alone in these cold, barren halls of ice. But Fred had been here, and now I could feel it. I was getting close. Something wasn't right. The grapple device's energy beam was somehow reflected off of the ice, and I couldn't get a grip. I had to look for areas where the ice was not so thick. This was going to be a challenge.
Let's see, I haven't shot a beam though, so like it just kind of told me that without really letting me find that out. Once again, we have a reminder of how just odd the voice acting and the character sounds like. He sounds to me like a Native American, a American Indian, as it were. How do we know that Fred's been here? I don't know. We did get a little bit of no flapping or fabric effects or physics. Yeah, it's fair to say there's not really been anything terrible about this game. It's just been that very mushy middle where every episode we've done really has not had anything to be said. I guess this might be an indication of Fred, or it could just be an indication of anybody. Um, they're not fairly easily explaining why um, why the grapple wouldn't work on ice. Apparently, hitting that sucked the energy out of that crystal for a while. So they might try to do some darkness element here. Yeah, you can see that this whole world, as it is, seems to be kind of empty. We didn't get really any explanation from the people that we barely talked to as far as why they're floating rocks. And see, this kind of feels like this might just be the end of the game. Which, alright. The only thing you're really missing out on is the idea that you would potentially what am I trying to say here? Yeah, the only thing the ice is really stopping you from doing is potentially grabbing the edge and saving yourself. And remember, we have the large things, but seemingly, unless you can accidentally land on a box, you don't have, I think, as much time here as you might want. Hmm. See, all I could do is try to find something that could fling me up enough. Yeah, I'm not really seeing what I'm supposed to be doing here. There's a top of this brick potentially hiding some text. Alright. And then you pull yourself down. That's best I can figure what you're supposed to do. Shoot yourself up. Rocket boot yourself. Pick your ending. Shoot yourself down. Find the next spot. Honestly, this feels very much like they've just kind of completely lost the plot. Though, I mean, I don't know how you don't particularly just see it from that perspective. There's no longer a good explanation or reason or rhyme for what we're doing. It's no longer even a pure flinging mechanic so much as it is just how can you manipulate the system. Like, that action there is totally lost when you're just flinging and pulling yourself to rocks. And here I can hear a collectible, which I guess inherently tells you that there are going to be collectibles here. Like, is this supposed to be the revelation of the crystals? So, I don't know what we're supposed to figure out here.
When I drained the crystal, I suddenly felt the earth starting to move beneath my feet, and my mind wandered back to how the strays might have used the crystals as a source of power to keep their cities afloat. I decided it was best to hurry back the way I came before this whole room came apart.
Right, so I got the collectible and potentially messed myself up as far as one has to assume what's going to happen here is we are now just straight up running, jumping, and hoping we can fling ourselves up high enough to fling ourselves onto some kind of platform. Oh, I double clicked. Now the question I suppose becomes, did I collect the collectible? See, these now fall down. So I don't think there really is a path here. I can't find some way to hit some cube as a middle ground. This is going to be super annoying. Now. Can we find a cube to fling ourselves with? Because you kind of inherently need to fling yourself up once, and then if you start to lose momentum, shoot yourself up. But you really need to fling yourself up at least twice. And if you fall down enough, here, this really feels like not programmed or planned in any way. Let's see. It doesn't feel particularly fair by any means. Like, this doesn't feel like there's really a pattern here that leaves enough rocks. Apparently, the end of the story here is also that we've just ruined all of this world. Which, yeah, that would feel like a Native American tale, is that the outsider might come and ruin the rest of the world, or ruin the lifestyle of people. Come on. Honestly, I feel like I should just have lost by now. Like, and inherently you are gonna have the argument that maybe I'm just really out of practice because I haven't played this game in probably a week. But also, I was never particularly good at this game. We need a platform in the middle there, and it just does not feel like there ever is a platform in the middle. Like, everything falls too fast. And I know there's the very late and shoot yourself very high concept that I never really figured out. Just shoot myself as far and as high as possible. Like, you really don't have a choice here either. It really is just completely don't screw this up. I don't think running and jumping is part of the idea either. I think you can run and jump here, fling yourself that way, fling yourself that way, shoot yourself that way, and then you are out of luck at that point if you can't find a platform. Like, the right way to do something like this would be to have some fairly obvious always in the same place solution. Right, if I could make that one and then jump from that point, I could get another boost. Shoot myself up as high as possible, pull myself down as high as possible, aim up, shoot up. Hope I can actually fling onto that. Nope. And you really don't have time to turn around and look for another option if you've misjudged and there's like no other cubes for you to hit. And if there was like maybe some upward and downward momentum here with these cubes, that might make sense. Yeah, and you can't really adjust in a way that would say, oh, well, I messed this up, so let me land on another rock and gain another boost. If I could land on a rock here, but that's not going to happen. That got me about as close as I think any of the other ones have. You've got to find a platform out of what seems like only 2 or 3 platforms that are actually good. And once you get to that end point, I think at that point you are going to have to shoot. There's a gap in the middle and there's a gap at the end. And kind of a gap at the front too, which I think inherently is more just implying that there's random gaps all over the place. This is one of those cases where it might be beneficial to just let the player cheat one way or another. Give them a solution if they wait long enough, or come on. Like, I was right there. and it still didn't want to even help me even the smallest amount. It's just a level of cruelty here. There is a thing I am noticing, that since these cubes are kind of tumbling, it does feel like if you kind of just touch them, you'll get enough of a footing on it where you actually will refill your energy. Which, that's nice to see. But you can definitely tell this is not helping me. And your little hand flinging animation, not helpful. It's not indicating to me something along the lines of, oh, this is an indication that here you should activate your flinging ability or your rocket boots. And they can't give me more like rocket boots stuff. Not really. There's just like no physics here. You definitely feel how this came from the creators of Goat Simulator. Because that is the trademark of Goat Simulator also, is that, come on, you're not really gonna refill me on that one? That one should have refilled me. This Goat Simulator is all about not really having any physics in it, and that being the joke of the game. And there's just no time here to see if you're going the right direction. You just need to find a cube and land on it 2 or 3 times. Think we might have a rage quit scenario here. A rage quit of my own design, certainly, but I don't know what else to do here. Some of these cubes are way faster moving, so start from last checkpoint. We know there's like 4 other collectibles somewhere in this game. So unless there's a solution here that requires you just to waste time, I am completely lost. I think this is just one of those scenarios which we've seen before. Fling yourself up. Fling yourself up that way. And that's not gonna work. The whole concept's limited, to say the least. Like, I really don't appreciate having only like 3 swings. I really don't appreciate being off the ground so considerably. You get that far and then land, I guess, on this one and then maybe immediately shoot yourself up. Fling yourself that way. Fling yourself that way. Like, those last cubes aren't even moving, really. I've really just run out of steam. Okay, we're standing on this. Does this just slowly fall? By all rights, it seems exactly like that's what it's doing. If half of these were upward momentum, like they were moving upward and I could hang on them, and then that would save the day. Some of that would make some sense. Okay. So, do I want to pull myself down? You never have enough cubes around you to recover. So you get lucky potentially and hit something, or you fail miserably and the game laughs at you. Come on. Let me find something. This feels very much like one of those games where if I was to go and look at the percentage of people who have actually beaten it, the number would be particularly low. Like, we already are typically in a scenario where less than half of players make it to the end of a game. And sure, some of that's just saltiness. Right. So close. You really gotta have that final fling ready to go. There's no recovery from this, though, in the middle. Like, if there just happens to not randomly be cubes in the middle, you get this one shot upward that doesn't potentially guarantee victory by any means. It at best gives you a chance, and often it really doesn't even do that. Pull myself, shoot myself. and hope I can fling myself forward. But at that point, you have to not have used your boost. So you can use one boost, but then you've got to land and get your next boost, which means then you've got to get up if you can't fling yourself again, which means you have to land again. So there's a minimum of like 2 or 3 boosts here and 2 or 3 lands that you have to pull off, or at the very least you have to have the extreme luck of hitting something. See, like something like this. Now you've got to land here, then immediately jump up, and then immediately try and shoot yourself up. That's not really gonna work. I mean, I can bounce myself up, I suppose, and get more height. That might be something. Instead of flinging yourself forward. This might very well be a mouse and keyboard scenario too. I would be willing to suspect that if I was an expert mouse and keyboard player, I might be able to turn around a little bit faster and get a general concept going as far as where to land. Let's see. Okay. Now we need things to swing on and don't have any. We've been doing this for 30 minutes. I think we're at a rage quit scenario. Which, at the end of the day, let's just be honest here. And that just means I'm not gonna get the ending of this fairy tale story. Maybe we can go and let's see. Wonder if we could potentially, like, it's called A Story About My Uncle, and yeah, without doing the ice caves, you can't do the epilogue. So we are almost at the end. We can collect that. What if we were to potentially not collect the energy at all? And even getting up here is turning into a pain in the butt. Alright. If we were to not suck the energy, then what? Is there any way around or out of this story to another area? I don't think so.
When I drained the crystal, I suddenly felt the earth starting to move beneath my feet, and my mind wandered back to how the strays might have used the crystals. as a source of power to keep their cities afloat. I decided it was best to hurry back the way I came before this whole room came apart.
So you get a slightly different experience in that way. Can we land? Can we jump? Can we fling? Can we swing? It could have been a glitch, I suppose. But I'm not seeing a real solution here. Am I moving too fast? How could that possibly be the solution? To slow down. Is there possibly some idea here where you kind of do have to stay in the middle? Not too high and not too low? That brick up there might be the only way you can actually pull yourself forward. So you might actually need a much higher landing than it would seem. I feel like what I would have done here to do something along this line is to have some kind of rising floor that isn't 100% safe, so it's not like, well, the floor just rises up and then you can just walk across it, but is somewhat helpful. Some kind of lava or snow, something that will bounce you up wildly, perhaps, but not immediately insta-kill you. Alright. Come on. I feel like we're also not really gonna have much of an experience if we do run into our uncle at this rate. So that probably wasn't the best move. Can we swing? Oh man, I was so close there. Had I just made that landing. Yeah, this is all about, can you get to a platform, find your platform, decide you're going to pull yourself down that way, shoot yourself up when you need to. Perhaps in this case I didn't need to. Come on. Oh, I needed that. Needed that bad. If I can pull myself upward. and pull myself there. Pull myself there. Pull myself there. Fling myself upward. Fling myself downward. Shoot myself up. Oh my goodness. Like 40 minutes. And see, if they had made a whole pile of these rocks, then that would have been a lot easier to escape a section like that. And my hope here is that I'm not going to immediately fail miserably before getting to a checkpoint. Like, this is such an unfinished area so far from what we've seen, in the sense that we literally just walked through a small little path and that was that. And we already knew that that would happen because they gave you the opportunity to figure that out. It would have been better for them to have not shown you that that was a possibility and just not had any crystals in this area until we got to the big crystals.
The crystals also reflected the grapple beam, but as they did, they seemed to recharge the grappling device.
So we're not going the way we started. Instead, we're seemingly running and jumping and flinging. And now they've introduced this idea that we're going to use the crystals as a way of recharging. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't recharge your boost. So this very intentionally has this momentum element to it, where they are definitely trying to make this more difficult on you. I caught some edge there.
Those floating stones, what were they?
I'm not sure. If only Maddie had come with me, maybe she could have translated the scripture on them.
But Dad, didn't you learn some of their letters?
Well, I had realized that each one of their letters represented one of ours. Maybe I could remember the writings that Maddie read to me in the chasms.
So the game is just telling the player, oh, you need to go back and look at what was said, and then these letters might mean something, and learn this language. And honestly, I wouldn't do that for even a game I loved, like Riven, the sequel to Myst. So I definitely would not be willing to do that for a game like this that is really nothing but a frustration. I have no idea where I'm supposed to be going here. So that challenge before must have been more challenging than it seemed, because I don't think I'm really having as much trouble now. Also, there's just a lot more checkpointing going on here, which that also helps, certainly. I didn't even need to absorb that, did I? The danger with this, as it is set up, however, is we will simply enter a scenario where I'm having to use 3 or 4 crystals to potentially have an infinite experience, infinite just stream of jumping. Let's see. Well, I guess we'll just move ahead. Not sure where I'm supposed to be. And I don't think I'm supposed to be here. Alright, where did you want me to go? I think that's the direction. If I'm getting the crystals and the crystals are refilling me, though, overshot it. Let's just hope we can land somewhere. Honestly, I don't know if you really need to have done half of that. See, I'm not sure I triggered a checkpoint here or if I've somehow gone in circles. Generally speaking, this would indicate it wants me to go this way. I don't know why. I've lost the plot. Am I supposed to be going around and around lower? No, I bet I'm supposed to go up here. Well, the good news is you hit the ground when if you miss there, so you can just constantly retry. I would be so happy to be done with this type of gameplay though, and this either lead to, I don't know, a giant ice worm if they want to bring back that, or a stealth mission really isn't going to help much here, or if, frankly just the final cutscenes, I'm fine with that too. I've checked out, as it were. Alright. Okay, next. Here we can hear a collectible somewhere around here. But I don't see it. Guess it probably doesn't. Wouldn't hurt too bad to look for it. Found it. It's just now a question of how does one get down there. There's a symbol. Unlocked a new unlockable. I'm actually surprised about that. What do we get? Goat mode? Okay, goat mode apparently changed my outfit, which you can only really see the glove of, and made a goat sound. And that's as much. So it just totally changes your sound effects to the goat simulator sound effects, which tells me that this undoubtedly was put in after they had made Goat Simulator. I have no desire for that. To listen to a bleeding goat. Right, it wants me to pull that way. And I think it wants me to just generally get towards that section. Guidance feels increasingly unhelpful. It feels like what they've done here is they've created an ice pattern so that you kind of have to pull yourself through, but then I'm hitting all of these. I'm hitting all this ice. So I don't know if they really want me to somehow figure a way to wiggle my body through all of that. Or am I supposed to be going somewhere completely different? I want to go over here. I'm just gonna hope that this perhaps skips some sections. And then that might just help me in general to work my way all the way up to this mountain. Which now wants me to potentially jump up that direction. Not sure why. Could I make that jump? Is that even the right direction? I kind of think that the game probably does only checkpoint you in a few different ways, trying to make it fairly easier. But I really wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. Yeah, it seems to me like the goal is to fling yourself up this way. Use that to start getting some momentum. And then use that to start getting some momentum. Grab that. Use that to fling yourself. Use that to fling yourself. Use that to fling yourself. And then probably would have been nice if the flares had been throughout the entire game. That way you knew you were actually following on Fred, your uncle's trail, and you weren't just haphazardly wandering around, potentially putting yourself in danger for no reason. I don't even know where I'm supposed to be going there. I can get forward momentum. Sure. But I think at that point, it would make a lot more sense if the energy from the crystals actually instead of just refilling your flings, refilled your well, if they refilled anything else really. You run, you not getting much momentum. It feels like I'm not really flinging off with the running ability, which until this point they had been fairly consistent with that one. Okay. Fling yourself that way. It intentionally doesn't give you enough to do that. You've got to hit that. You've got to have enough momentum also to then get the next 3 rocks. So this is really just about gaining as much momentum as possible. Yeah, you've got to get that first fling. And here we've hit a very different scenario from the difficulty spike before, because in that scenario it was a matter of not being able to get between blocks that were moving, and here we have very stationary blocks that are just designed to be pains in the butt. Seriously. At a certain level, the positioning of these rocks fall more into the category, in my book, of just being poorly placed. Like at a certain point, it does stop feeling like a challenge, and it just starts feeling like bad gameplay design. You just don't have enough momentum. You've got to launch forward, shoot, launch yourself forward. You've got to fling yourself, absorb, hope you get. In that case, I hit the ground and it still killed me. there some part of this I'm missing? Like they seem like they've specifically programmed this to make it impossible to hit a wall on the edge and catch a ledge, because that would fix it fairly easily, as if I just kind of tried to roll over to this edge and I was close enough to have made that one. So maybe there isn't some truth to staying towards the edge and just trying to run against the wall. They've made it a smooth enough cliff face though that won't work. Is there something else we're missing? I was actually charging up as I died. It didn't reset my charging status as it respawned me. Yep. And there's no real sense of satisfaction there. That's just frustration. And missed it. Good news is this one probably isn't that hard. This is really just more of a matter of maintaining momentum and maintaining height and not bonking your head.
I landed hard and felt the impact vibrate through my body. The suit had protected me, but it was in bad shape. The rocket boots were worst off. The crash had ruined the functionality completely. I knew that if I stayed here to fix them, I would probably freeze to death.
So you're a kid doing this right now, and that just destroyed the rocket boots, which I'm almost happy for that idea, because that does imply to me that we are getting back to just standard flinging oneself. Yeah, the rocket boots no longer work, which fixes some things. Okay. And the suit itself is breaking, so that is a potential indication that we are near the end, which I would definitely like to be near the end. Could this possibly be it? Just up some little platforms. potentially out of this whole cave. And potentially finding our uncle. You know what they're really failing to do is say any backstory about Fred as an uncle. Yeah, and you can definitely see why you would have needed to gotten rid of the rocket boots in this section, because it would have been incredibly easy to get through this section if I could just have rocketed up. Yeah, I would have really preferred to have heard our main character talk about his relationship with Fred, the uncle, and why he was going through all of this and willing to put up with all of this frustration. Like, this kind of has ceased to be just like a fun adventure story. It's, even for the main character, it feels much more monotonous and grindy than that. Here, if I jump up here, is there possibly a shortcut? We jumped like over here. I don't think so. You may notice I have not decided to change the color on the laser flinger, since we unlocked the ability to do that. It was, I think the pink works a little bit better than the default blue, but otherwise I'm unimpressed by that extra feature. Although, in all fairness, there are many games out there that fail to give you that level of customization. I want to be very careful here, as best as I can, so that I can try and shoot in the middle of all of these. Oh man, I'm about to fall over the edge. Come on, give me some kind of checkpoint. Don't make a ridiculous gauntlet here. There's a checkpoint over there. Could I run and jump to that? I think that's what they want me to do anyways. It definitely seems like there was a thought process here that there would have been more platforms like this and more general ramps of a sort, in which you would have walked up pathways, but we've actually done basically no walking on narrow pathways in the game up until this point. It's easier to pull yourself. Of course, also flinging yourself and pulling yourself up narrow pathways makes it kind of fairly safer than it should be. I don't want to accidentally end up in the wrong place. They moved us to a different area, and we are seeing indications that yes, Fred has been here. Trying to figure out which path is the actual correct path. Remember, we don't really have anything that we can fling on, so so I think they actually do intend for us to go that way. And that's why we saw the glowing light. And then that way. And then that way. Got a couple different choices. We can go here and then here and get a checkpoint. Or we could try to just short circuit all of that and catch that very edge there. Yeah, we skipped some things there, and I'm more than happy to have skipped some platforming, because it's all the same. I mean, we're into our third cave like this. This feels very repetitive. Like, did I fall? I don't think so. All these flares around here seem to indicate something.
How could Fred leave stuff behind everywhere? How much was he carrying?
As I remember it, Fred wasn't that good at keeping track of all his things. Like you.
Hey, it's not like you're any better.
Sorry. Anyway, Fred counted on losing a few things on each of his journeys. He always brought more stuff than he needed. For a paddling trip we had, he brought so many life jackets, we could barely fit ourselves in the canoes.
Isn't it hard to lose track of a life jacket if you're wearing it?
Good point. I guess he didn't really think of that.
Yeah, this whole story just feels made up, and more than likely is. Like, plus that doesn't really tell you anything. Like, we see that he had a box of flares. Okay, good to know. That only just explains that he had a bunch of flares. Am I supposed to get up here, or is there some other path I'm missing? Ah, this is gonna be a nightmare, isn't it? It wants me to decide to fling myself up, and unless the game has been very kind here, which I don't think it has, and given me multiple paths, I think it wants me to fling myself up Grab that. Grab that. Maybe absorb that. Grab that. Almost flung myself into a poor position there. Oops. Almost caused myself some trouble there also. Gotta be real careful here, because if I fall, I don't think there's any checkpoints that's gonna save me. Not until I had reached that point, at least. So we've got these vines sticking out, these roots, which I guess maybe indicates that there's some sort of tree or thing, and I can hear a collectible, but I could not care less about getting a collectible at the risk of dying and losing progress. I mean, we know it's over there, but did I cause myself some trouble? Right.
I found another one of Fred's campsite, noticeably newer than the others. The fire
We haven't seen it
was
yet.
still smoldering, and I could faintly pick up the smell of the aftershave he always used. I was closing in on him. I could feel it.
The
He
timing
left some
here.
tools behind that I could use to repair my boots.
So they want to do this whole sound effects,
That
and
should do it.
we now have to use the boots again. Which, remember, you're a kid again. Not in any way really indicated as a genius kid or anything along that line. Even. So yeah, I don't know if this is a case of the game perhaps just giving you a break and letting you move faster through the rest of the story, or if it's setting you up for just more frustration. Alright. I don't know where I was even supposed to go after that point. Like, I had opportunities certainly to recharge my fling. That wasn't the problem. If anything, I probably had more than enough opportunities to recharge my
Buried
fling.
beneath the ice, you could still see signs of what this place had once been. Something not unlike the caves where the village lay. The ice age must have come suddenly, washing over it like a freezing tsunami. Now it lay desolated, haunting anyone who dared visit, with falling stalactites, sharp icicles, and its bottomless depths.
Possibly because they mined the crystals. I have no idea where I'm supposed to go. It kind of feels like I'm supposed to just make a mad jump that direction. And maybe with the rocket boots, I can actually pull that off. I'm stuck in the wall. I am Totally stuck in a wall. I only get you so far. About halfway to the distance you'd want to be. This game seems to kind of enjoy screwing with you also, to make it less likely that you'll realize where you're supposed to go. Because I now kind of see they wanted me to pull myself that way, but apparently you cannot refill yourself. So now if I can, nope, you're gonna have to have at least one refill. You can do that. You can do that. You can do that. And then that gets you there. That can get you there. And that can get you there. Seriously, it's just more of everything. Apparently, it's supposed to go down here. And apparently you're supposed to go down that direction. I'd hope I have not made a mistake here and gone in a loop. It feels like those are possibilities. Is there really a way I could get over in that direction now? No, I don't think we're gonna do that stalactite trick too often. Darn it. It's not gonna work. Feels like there should have been a checkpoint. Then you just get a sound effect every time you try to grapple on something. So the game is actively kind of mocking you every time you fail. I'm not sure I need that negative feedback. I'm just gonna run into the wall and hope that works. And I assume these are the right way. Then the question would be, is it possible that there's a different path this way? I don't think so. They've intentionally labeled that. feel like we may use stalactites at some point to get from here to there. But I feel like that could also just be a collectible thing. Is there a checkpoint up here? No. Instead, there's a glider, which we haven't seen any other gliders. And shooting yourself forward to make sure you land is not the safest way to accomplish movement. Yeah, I do think we are gonna be asked, perhaps not required, but asked to swing all the way through that section. But maybe we'll get a checkpoint. Again, I know we spent a lot of time on the falling blocks, which they've kind of completely forgotten about. So it's just an underside? Apparently so. Oops. Needed to have recharged. Got it. Went really quiet there. That flung me considerably further. I think what it wants to show there is that you don't probably need to worry too much. To particularly maneuver around the falling stalactites. If I could recharge my energy, that would have been potentially recoverable. But you do really have to be careful in the direction you fling yourself. There we go. So now what? We have a very red section here. And it kind of feels like the end of the road, but I guess we're wrapping around. The problem now is we just don't know when this ends. Is this gonna drag on and waste my time for 10 more minutes? 20 more minutes? Are we almost done? Are we on the verge of being done? Or is there possibly 3 or 4 other ideas that the game would like to experiment with? Like, it's once again not really checkpointing you enough. It's put a pretty bad starter point here. Like, really easy to mess up and fail here. Perhaps the idea is to only hit the stalactites that are glowing. Thus, you can have some consistency and safety there. I don't know if that's really how this is gonna work, though. I'm doomed. I mean, you could run this way and jump. Now they totally want you to grab this and fling yourself up and then experience that experience. Does that fully make sense? Not really, particularly after the second or third time you've done it. There we go. But we're still not safe. Still no checkpoint. Oh, nope, overshot it. Oh, ridiculous. Like, I should just rage quit there. Like, there's... We're so close, but we're also so far away. And there's literally nothing this game could offer in an epilogue. Like, I can certainly see why nobody ever has talked about this game. Because I imagine few people have made it even as far as I have. Let's see, one mispull of the trigger uses your one energy. At which point there's no way to really save yourself. And certainly it's incredibly easy to go on tilt with a scenario like this and just start failing more and more. don't even know where I'm supposed to be going. Alright, I'm done. Like, we probably are literally a few steps away. But unless help was, let's see, show grapple heads. Like, this could take me another 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And I just don't care. I just don't care. So I'm giving up. What else does this game have to offer? Well, pretty much nothing. I imagine the epilogue also is it is also some more flinging. But it might not be, because if you look at the workshop here, that would not really be anything. There's a time trial mode that's locked. And then there was Midas mode and acrobatic mode, and yeah. There's no even credits to pull up. Well, what can I say, really? This is a rage quit that is longer in the making, frankly, than it deserves to be. I definitely opened myself up to not finishing this game when I took a whole week off of not playing it. Typically, if I'm going to stick to a game, I need to actually stick to it and play it in short bursts, which doesn't work for a lot of people, certainly. People in school and work that have only a weekend to play games. But inherently, this is a game where you do one thing poorly. It tries to tell you a story during that whole process. The story is boring and uneventful. Best I can figure, we find out that the crystals are important in some way and should be treated and reviewed and not used as a way of building a city. Either that, or they just leave it up to the player to decide whether the crystal should be used and mined or not. And the frog people probably don't matter. And the uncle clearly doesn't matter at all. In a weird way, this game would have been better, much better in my opinion, as just a walking simulator. Had I spent like $5 on this game and just walked around some places, that would have been fine. But since it has this flinging mechanic, and this flinging mechanic is not fun to me, and it obviously is acting as a complete impediment to getting to the end of the story, I am just filled with disappointment. I mean, honestly, there's just not a lot to say, frankly. It's just not good. It's a mushy middle, not good game. I will almost certainly go and look up a speed run of somebody playing this game to see the end of the credits, and I'd recommend someone else, anyone who wants to see that, do the same. But I cannot recommend playing this game yourself. I can't recommend Goat Simulator either, in the same reason. I think you probably are best to simply watch a speedrunner or someone else play Goat Simulator, because that Goat Simulators really aren't good games either. They have wonky physics that, instead of trying to improve on their physics programming, this developer embraced a flaw which locks them into a scenario in which they can never be trusted to make a good quality physics based game ever again. So So you can't really expect anything from the Goat Simulator developers other than more Goat Simulator games. And you can be pleasantly surprised if they did do something different, but I doubt they will. Anyways, that's going to be it for this series. I have no more interest in playing this game. I barely had interest in playing it even throughout. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos because that helps me with YouTube. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me even further, you can either friend me on Steam and gift me a game or a gift card, or you can click on the link down below to Patreon. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.